Welcome to the 2025 National Awards for Innovation and Excellence in P3s. Today's awards luncheon and presentation are brought to you by AECOM, Marco Builders of Atlantic Canada, and McCarthy Tétrault LLP. Please welcome to the stage our host for today's celebration of the best in Canadian infrastructure, Brad Nicpon, partner at McCarthy Tétrault.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and welcome to the Annual C2P3 National Awards Lunch. I'm your host, Brad Nicpon. For those of you just waking up, I can confirm that no, the Jays game is not still going in the 43rd inning. Before we get started, I'd like to set out a few ground rules. Rule number 1. No matter what you've seen at the Oscars, and no matter how terrible the jokes might be, there shall be no approaching the stage and punching the awards host. On that note, I know these awards are competitive, but I don't want to see any fighting in the crowd either. If you need to blow off some steam, I've heard a rumor that Yonge Street Station on the as-yet unopened Eglinton Crosstown line is being used as the venue for an illicit P3 fight club. Rule number 3 is we don't talk about P3 Fight Club. Anyways, on to the serious stuff. Before we get to the awards, I want to offer a special thank you for the sponsors of our awards today, AECOM, Marco Builders of Atlantic Canada, and McCarthy Tétrault LLP. Since 1998, the National Awards Program has celebrated and recognized this country's cutting-edge infrastructure projects involving the public sector partnering with the private sector. We present project awards in 4 categories: P3 transaction, P3 design and construction, P3 service delivery, and environmental, social, and governance. Each of the projects we're celebrating here today is unique, but they share 2 things in common. They are delivering valuable, dependable infrastructure and services to Canadian communities, and they represent the tremendous collaborative power of partnerships that is possible using the P3 model. The task of reviewing project submissions is taken on every year by the dedicated members of a group known as the National Awards Committee. I serve as chair of this committee, and my fellow judges are Rupesh Amin, founder and CEO of Concora Capital Partners; Darren Bain, Chief Executive Officer, Concert Infrastructure; Lauren Green, Executive Vice President and Head of Kiewit Development Company; Peter Hepburn, Managing Director and Head, Infrastructure and Project Finance at National Bank Financial Markets; Sharina Hussain, Founder, Academic Collaboration Consulting and Global Infrastructure Academic; Monty McNaughton, former Ontario Minister of Infrastructure and Minister of Labour, Immigration, Training and Skills Development; Tim Murphy, Executive Vice President and Chief Strategic Affairs Officer at AECON; Divya Shah, Managing Director, Investments at the Canada Infrastructure Bank; and Lindsay Wright, Partner, Global Infrastructure Advisory at KPMG. As you can imagine, with these elite judges, our standards for projects are very high. Now, in the name of humility, I just want to point out that I did not write that last sentence claiming to be an elite infrastructure judge. I'm just the messenger here. But if you too would like to be an elite infrastructure judge, you'll need to challenge one of us to take on the committee, and now you know the place to do that. Now, on with the show. To present our first award, please help me welcome to the stage Catherine Stevens, Chief Operating Officer, AECOM, and Amy Morley, Senior Director of Program Management, AECOM.
Hi, everyone. I'm Catherine, this is Amy, and we're delighted to be here today to present the 2025 awards for P3 transaction. The importance of private finance in the P3 model cannot be understated. It helps stretch taxpayer dollars and provides additional oversight to ensure projects are successfully managed and delivered on time and on budget.
In judging this category, the awards committee carefully reviewed each nomination for its financing solution, partnering arrangements, transaction legal structure, and project incentives. Our nominees for the P3 transaction of 2025 are Alberta P3 School Bundle 5 with partners Alberta Infrastructure and EllisDon Infrastructure, CHIO Integrated Treatment Centre partners with Infrastructure Ontario, CHIO and EllisDon Infrastructure OCH Inc.
And also Queen Elizabeth II Halifax Infirmary expansion with partners Build Nova Scotia Health, and Plenary PCL Health. And the last nomination is Winnebago Area Health Authority redevelopment. Partners are Infrastructure Ontario, Winnebago Area Health Authority, Ontario Ministry of Health, Indigenous Services Canada, and Pomerleau Healthcare Partners.
Through a highly collaborative partnership, Alberta Infrastructure and the EllisDon Infrastructure Consortium achieved financial close on the Alberta P3 School Bundle 5 project to deliver 6 much-needed schools within the province. These schools will accommodate 6,140 students upon opening. Advancing beyond standardized models, the Design, Build, Finance, Maintain agreement leverages a bundled approach, integrating 2 different school classes for the first time to deliver 5 custom elementary schools and 1 high school. Innovative features include 2 capital partnerships with municipalities and proactive collaboration between bidders and the Government of Alberta on commercial terms. The innovative project agreement means the province can expect to save approximately $51.59 million over the life cycle compared to a traditional design, bid, build approach.
In partnership with Infrastructure Ontario and CHIO, EllisDon Infrastructure is proud to deliver the CHIO Integrated Treatment Centre, which will provide care for children and youth with complex medical, developmental, behavioral, and mental health needs for Eastern and Northern Ontario, Western Quebec, and Nunavut. We ran a rigorous market sounding and worked closely with a range of domestic and international banks to leverage precedent documents where possible and mitigate risks with the design builder. This streamlined technical and legal reviews, simplified approvals, and reduced project costs. Through integration with the design builder, we evaluated competing financial structures and created a performance security solution that gave lenders confidence, resulting in the most competitive financing terms in years for this asset class.
So what's being built right now is our acute care tower. This project is so significant for patients across Nova Scotia because it is about providing the highest level care needs of the province. The new building will have 216 individual patient rooms. It's going to have a larger intensive care unit than we've ever had before in the Central Zone, and an emergency department that's almost twice the size of our current emergency department.
Our partner in building the hospital will be with us for 30 years, so that ensures that the modern facility we build today stays that modern facility going forward.
And the award of merit for P3 transaction goes to Alberta P3 School Bundle 5. This is the first time Alberta P3 School Bundle 5 has received a national award for innovation and excellence in P3s. In making its selection, the awards committee commended the Alberta government for its response to the risk of tariffs. It was also impressed by the flexibility and quick reaction by the public and private partners to deal with economic volatility, labor changes, and supply shortages. Previously, the Alberta government has won a silver award in the P3 design and construction category and a gold award in project development for School Bundle number 2. Also a gold infrastructure award for the Alberta Schools Alternative Procurement Phase 1 and an award of merit for the ASAP project. Congratulations to the entire Alberta P3 School Bundle 5 team.
And the silver award for the P3 transaction goes to Queen Elizabeth II Halifax Infirmary Inspection Project. This is the first time this Nova Scotia healthcare megaproject has received a national award for innovation and excellence in P3s. In making its selection, the awards committee singled out the project team's nimbleness in dealing with challenging market conditions and managing risk while retaining the P3 structure. In recent years, the Nova Scotia government and its private sector partners have taken home a gold award in the P3 design and construction category for the Highway 104 Sutherlands River to Antigonish twinning project. Congratulations to the entire QE2 team.
And now the gold award for P3 transaction goes to the Winnebago Area Health Authority Redevelopment Project. This is the first time the Waha Redevelopment Project has received a national award for innovation and excellence in P3s. The awards committee was impressed by the project's significant Indigenous engagement and deep communications outreach in the communities the facility will serve. It's also important to note that this is the largest investment in an Indigenous healthcare facility in Canada to date. Congratulations to the entire Waha Redevelopment Project team.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Emcee, and I'm a partner with McCarthy Tétrault and a member of the C2P3 Board of Directors. It's great to be here today with Brad to celebrate the nominees in the P3 Design and Construction category. This is always one of the most popular award categories, which means the judges had their works cut out for them. When weighing the strength of the project, the judges considered design, construction performance, delivery timeline, resolution of implementation phase disputes, partnering arrangements, and supply chain management.
The nominees are Grandview Children's Treatment Centre, Partners, Infrastructure Ontario, Grandview Kids, and Children First Consortium. Eglinton Crosstown West Extension, Advanced Tunnel Contract 1, Partners, Infrastructure Ontario, Metrolinx, and West End Connectors.
Also, Highway 401 expansion, Mississauga to Milton. Partners were Infrastructure Ontario, Ontario Ministry of Transportation, and West Corridor Constructors. And Mental Health and Addiction Centre, partners Government of Newfoundland and Labrador, Eastern Regional Health Authority, and Avalon Healthcare Partnership.
The Highway 401 expansion between Mississauga and Milton stands as a landmark in Ontario's transportation history. Delivered through a public-private partnership between Aecon, Parsons, and Amico, known as West Corridor Constructors, and partnering with Ministry of Transportation of Ontario and Infrastructure Ontario. The project widened and reconstructed 18 kilometers of one of North America's busiest highways, all while keeping over 250,000 vehicles moving every day. The project began in November 2019, with final completion in August 2024. The project, which demanded more than 1.7 million work hours to complete, was executed on an aggressive schedule through the unprecedented challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. Sustainability and innovation were at the core. Over 850,000 tons of asphalt and concrete were recycled on site. Digital paving technologies improved precision and quality, and design optimization reduced costs and minimized disruption. The result? A modern highway that meets current and future needs, improving safety, strengthening regional connectivity, and setting a new benchmark for P3 delivery in Canada.
Good afternoon. I'm Tom McHugh. We're here to celebrate a truly amazing collaboration. the creation of Grandview Kids' state-of-the-art, fully accessible headquarters in Ajax, Ontario. It was completed in 2024 on a design, build, finance model with a group of dedicated 3P partners who worked seamlessly to achieve an ambitious goal. But the collaboration went much deeper than that. The team also actively consulted and collaborated with Team Grandview across our clinical and administrative teams. As a result, children and youth with physical, communication, and developmental needs and their families can access a facility close to home that features engaging physical activity spaces like our gymnasium, bright and welcoming therapy rooms, and unique moments of wonder as experienced on our sensory trail. I wish I could tell you more, but suffice it to say that the spirit of collaboration that made all this possible was beyond exemplary. It is my hope that the Canadian Council for Public-Private Partnerships will recognize Grandview Kids for the exemplary collaborative achievement that it is. Thank you.
An award of merit goes to Grandview Children Treatment Center. This is the second time Grandview has been recognized at our national awards. In 2022, the project won an Award of Merit in the Project Development category. This year, the awards committee commended the project for its truly collaborative nature. The team are pulled together to keep the project on track during the challenging years of the pandemic. And almost exactly a year ago, the center opened its door and started offering treatment to children and youth with physical, communication, and development needs in the Durham region. Truly a transformative project for children in those communities. Congratulations to the entire team at the Grandview Children Treatment Center. And the awards committee is also presenting an award of merit to the Mental Health and Addiction Center team. This is also the second time the Mental Health and Addiction Centre has been recognized at our national awards. Last April, this transformational 102-bed mental health facility opened its door, realizing the province's vision to create a holistic and welcoming environment towards recovery. The awards committee was impressed by how the team kept the project on track during the pandemic by finding equipment solutions to mitigate supply chain disruptions and for reducing overall costs by using an existing central energy plant. Congratulations to the entire Mental Health and Addiction Centre team.
All right, now for a silver award. The silver award in the P3 Design and Construction category goes to the Eglinton Crosstown West Extension Advanced Tunnel Contract 1. This is the first national award for the Advanced Tunnel team. The awards committee was impressed by the fact that this highly complex tunneling project finished on budget and on schedule. No doubt a big part of that success is the collaborative nature of the project partners' embrace to deal with challenges as they arose. The team also placed great importance on health and safety at the site. They used a new piece of robotic demolition equipment to minimize human exposure to hazardous dust and physical injury in the tunnels. It also reduced the carbon footprint of the construction project. Kudos to the Crosstown West Extension Advanced Tunnel 1 contract team. And last but not least, the Gold Award. Finally, the Gold Award goes to Highway 401 Expansion, Mississauga to Milton. This is the first national award for the Highway 401 expansion team. Our awards committee was highly impressed by the fact that this project widened and reconstructed 18 kilometers of highway, all while maintaining full traffic flow on one of the busiest stretches of roads in North America. Plus, the project was executed and reached financial close during the pandemic, which added significant challenges. The project team was able to overcome complex challenges without delays using a proactive dispute resolution model and real-time performance tracking. The team also reused more than 850,000 tons of on-site asphalt and concrete and used steel box girders and underpasses, reducing emissions, material costs, and public traffic disruptions. Congratulations to the Highway 401 Expansion Mississauga to Milton team for their well-deserved Gold Award.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shrin Hussain. I'm the founder of Academic Collaboration Consulting, a global infrastructure expert, as well as a Canadian delegate to the G20 Young Entrepreneur Alliance in Sustainable Infrastructure. I'm also a proud member of the C2P3 Awards Committee. It is my great pleasure to be here today to present the 2025 Emerging Champion Award to Laura Gagnon. Laura is a director on the transaction legal team at Infrastructure Ontario, where she advises on major infrastructure projects, specializing on projects using collaborative delivery models. Since joining IO in 2021, she has been involved in the development of IO's collaborative delivery models, including the progressive P3 model used on healthcare projects, the progressive design build target price model used on healthcare and transit projects, and IO's alliance model for healthcare projects. She has also advised on projects such as the Waha redevelopment, the Peter Gilligan Mississauga Hospital, the Eglinton Crosstown West Extension, the new patient care tower at North York General, and the Garden City Skyway Bridge twinning. When she's not doing all that important work, she's spending her free time teaching the next generation of infrastructure and P3 leaders as a guest lecturer. Laura, congratulations on this outstanding achievement to date and the tremendous successes that you have and we know are in your future. You are truly worthy of the winner of our 2025 Emerging Leader Award.
Thank you very much to the council, the awards committee, and to those that nominated me. I am so incredibly honored to be receiving the C2P3 Emerging Leader Champion Award. I feel so lucky every day to be working on P3 projects and major infrastructure projects. I joined Infrastructure Ontario back in 2021. It was the thick of the pandemic, a time when the market was throwing us curveballs. Conditions were challenging, and IO had to step up to the plate and rethink how we delivered projects. That gave me the opportunity to work on developing the progressive P3 model and collaborative delivery models that IO is using today. Right off the bat, I started working on meaningful projects like the Waha project, congratulations, and the Trillium Health Partners Mississauga Hospital project, both of which have now successfully completed their development phases. These projects taught me what it really means to deliver infrastructure that truly matters to communities. From there, I was fortunate to be part of the team that developed the progressive design build model for transit, highways, and health, and now I have the pleasure to be working on Ontario's first Healthcare Alliance project, which is another exciting example of how IO is evolving to meet the needs of the province. However, what truly makes this work so rewarding is the partnerships. On the public sector side, we work closely with our sponsoring ministries and our hospital and our co-sponsors, such as Metrolinx and our co-sponsor hospitals, each bringing unique insights about what communities need. And then, of course, there's the private sector, our bidders and partners who engage with us, share feedback, and challenge us to think differently. They push us to refine our delivery models and explore new approaches. It's that kind of dialogue that ensures that together, through collaboration and meaningful engagement, we can knock it out of the park. Infrastructure delivery is changing fast. We're seeing new models, a stronger focus on sustainability, and digital tools that will transform how projects are planned and being built. It's an exciting time to be in this space, and I feel very lucky to be part of the IO team, a team that's not afraid to take big swings when the game changes. But truly, I feel that this award reflects the incredible teams and partners I've had the privilege to work with. I'm grateful for the mentors who have coached me, the colleagues who have supported me, and the industry partners who have challenged me to grow, many of whom are in this room today. And I'm also excited about what's ahead, continuing to deliver projects that matter, strengthening partnerships, and finding new ways to innovate. Thank you again for this recognition and for giving me the opportunity to play a small part in building the future of Ontario. And finally, since we're here in Toronto at Canada's Infrastructure Conference, and with the Blue Jays in the World Series, I'll just say, I hope we can all keep swinging for the fences and bring home big wins for our communities, preferably in fewer than 18 innings. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Alan McIntosh. I'm the president of Marco Builders of Atlantic Canada. Since our company was founded in 1979, Marco has grown to become one of Atlantic Canada's leading general contractors, known for its commitment to quality, integrity, and community. I'm pleased here today to share the stage with my daughter, Hannah, who lives in Toronto. She's a labor and employment lawyer with Sherrard Coutts here in Toronto on the management side. And we're here to recognize and celebrate Canada excellence in the P3 delivery category and in the ESG category.
Thanks, Dad. And hello to everyone joining us today. It's not often I get to share a stage with my father, and I'm honored to be in this room with all of you. This is only the second time we have projects nominated in the P3 service delivery category. This award is for projects that have reached at least 2 years of full operation. Given we have more than 300 P3 projects across Canada, and most of those are in operation, we encourage more of you to consider nominating your team members in this category next year.
In judging the applications, the National Awards Committee considered projects, operation, and maintenance track record specifically service performance, satisfaction of the client, resolution of operations phase disputes and challenges, mitigation of failure points, and the accommodation of changing public policy objectives of the public sector partner. This is truly an award that judges whether an asset is meeting the long-term goals of the project agreement and recognizes teams that are truly working in a collaborative spirit to resolve challenges and find solutions. Our 2025 nominees for P3 delivery service are Library and Archives Canada Gagnon 2 project, partners Library and Archives Canada and Plenary Properties Gatineau, and Royal Inland Hospital Patient Care Tower, partners Interior Health Authority, Infrastructure BC, and EllisDon Infrastructure Healthcare.
EllisDon Facility Services provides facility management for both the new patient care tower and the existing hospital campus as part of a partnership with Interior Health, Infrastructure BC, and EllisDon Infrastructure Healthcare. The managed space spans over 840,000 square feet, and renovations continue to advance a phase 2 of the project. Within months of taking over the site responsibilities, our EDFS team successfully integrated a custom computerized maintenance management system and also delivered a range of innovations across the hospital campus, including sustainability upgrades and a tailored energy dashboard that went beyond the contract. Despite wildfire seasons, flooding, and complex systems integrations, the team ensures seamless operations and continuity of care through expert planning and service delivery.
The 2025 Silver Award for P3 service delivery goes to Royal Inland Hospital Patient Care Tower. This is the second national award for the Royal Inland Hospital. The award committee was impressed by the uniqueness of this project, which includes facilities management services for a newly constructed tower and the existing hospital campus under a long-term P3 agreement. By pushing operational risks to the service provider, the committee noted the hospital is benefiting from a single point of contact for its operational needs and reducing administrative burden. The awards committee also noted the project's remarkable success in working through wildfires, floods, and the pandemic, thanks to the strong collaboration between the public and private sector teams. Congratulations to the entire Royal Inland Hospital team. And the 2025 Gold Award for P3 service delivery goes to Library and Archives Canada's Gatineau 2 project. This is the third national award for the Gatineau 2 project. This year, the awards committee commended the private sector team for its dedication to maintaining excellent levels of service for LAC and its clients. Since opening, occupant satisfaction surveys have indicated an overall satisfaction score of 85%. And the state-of-the-art automated storage and retrieval system that needs to be available 24/7 has achieved a 98% reliability score. The public and private sector members have also made it a shared goal to avoid going through the dispute resolution process, because who wants to deal with lawyers anyways? And to date, there have been no formal disputes throughout the operations phase. Congratulations to the entire LAC team.
Our next national award recognizes teams embedding the goals and priorities of ESG in the very heart of their projects. Infrastructure transforms communities in the way we live, we work, and we play. When done thoughtfully, it can also help reduce environmental impacts, empower diverse communities, and provide new opportunities, and knit us all closer together.
We all want to be closer together.
Yeah.
The awards committee evaluates ESG submissions based on a project's contribution to environmental protection or enhancement, wildlife protection, climate GHG impact, natural infrastructure attributes, Indigenous engagement, community benefits, and other social impacts. The nominee for the ESG project of 2025 is Tétrault All-Season Road, partners Government of Northwest Territories and North Star Infrastructure GP.
The Tétrault All-Season Road is a model of sustainable infrastructure. This 96-kilometer highway provides the community of Wati with year-round access, delivering significant social and economic benefits to the local citizens. The Tétrault government holds a 20% equity stake in the project, ensuring lasting community benefit. Local Indigenous labor and business participation far exceeded targets during construction and continues to do so during operations. This P3 project balances northern development with environmental protection, cultural preservation, and meaningful social impact. On behalf of the Tétrault All-Season Road team, we thank you for this recognition.
Congratulations to the Tétrault All-Season Road team and their Gold Award for ESG. This is the third Gold Award for Tétrault. All-Season Road has received at the National Award for Innovation and Excellence in P3s, making it one of our most celebrated projects. This year, the award committee were impressed by how this gateway project continues to transform the local economy and communities. It now links 365 days a year. The project also provides great insights on what is possible when a project includes Indigenous equity and has a strong focus on reducing greenhouse gas emissions and protecting wildlife. Congratulations to the entire Tétrault team.
All right, we've now come to the part of the presentation where we are recognizing 2 Lifetime Champion Awards. And it is my honor and great pleasure to present the first of those 2. Our first recipient is someone that truly has a lifetime record of achievement with P3s. In fact, he is one of the few people who might be able to rightly claim responsibility for bringing the P3 model to Canada. I first encountered David Lindsay, when he was serving as Principal Secretary and Chief of Staff to former Premier Ontario Mike Harris in the mid-1990s. In other words, his job description at that time was basically running Ontario. Which part, you ask? All of it. Hospitals, schools, roads, transit, the whole thing. Following that role, David served as President and CEO of the Ontario Jobs and Investment Board, another not insignificant job, and eventually found his way into a role that brought him to the attention of the C2P3 Awards Committee. In the late 1990s, Mike Harris's government looked across the ocean to the United Kingdom and saw that there was a certain infrastructure delivery model that was making waves. It was helping projects to be delivered on time and on budget by having the private sector take a stake in the success of projects. It was called the PFI, or Private Finance Initiative Model, but today we know that structure as the P3 model. Seeing these successes, the Harris government set up a new agency to explore the use of the P3 model here in Ontario. That agency was called the Ontario Superbuild Corporation, and David was appointed as its founding president, a role that he held from 1999 to 2003. The work of the Ontario Superbuild Corporation directly led to the successful delivery of Ontario's very first P3 projects, the Royal Ottawa Hospital and William Osler Brampton Civic Hospital projects. As those of us in politics will recall, the 2003 election spelled the end of 8 years of progressive Conservative government in Ontario. For most political staffers and appointees, this would mean moving out of government. However, as a testament to the trust and respect that David earned during his time in government, the incoming Liberal government of Dalton McGuinty entrusted him with the role of Deputy Minister in a series of critical portfolios, including Northern Development, Natural Resources, Energy, and Infrastructure, where he continued his contributions to Ontario's P3 landscape. In 2021, David returned to public service to continue his work in the P3 world when the government of current Premier Doug Ford appointed him to the role of Chair of Infrastructure Ontario. On a personal note, I should add that my own career in P3s was initiated way back in 2003 when I was a lowly issues management assistant in the office of then Ontario Minister of Health Tony Clement. One day my boss dropped on my desk a folder labeled P3 Hospitals, Royal Ottawa and William Osler, and asked me to take point on the minister's public statements on these projects and their fancy new P3 model that David was leading. And so I'm honored today to award to David Lindsay the C2P3 Lifetime Champion Award. Congratulations, David. On behalf of C2P3 and the infrastructure community, I thank you for your leadership in bringing the P3 model to Canada. Yeah, we gotta go over there.
I don't know if the reflection was off the glass or off my head. Thank you very much, Brad. From you and I first started working together, I've since needed reading glasses, so bear with me. I really appreciate that overly generous introduction. Thank you very much, and thank you to the Council of Public-Private Partnerships for this lifetime recognition. I've asked the organizers how many people are registered here, and they said 800. I asked Brad how many people were in the room, and he said 1,000, so obviously he comes from politics. But just think about it. 30 years ago, Geoff Smith and I were just chatting about 30 years ago when it started in Ontario, there was lots of detractors and only a small band of advocates for P3s. And those advocates helped create the Public Policy, Council of Public Policy, and they were the pioneers that really got things going. I was just lucky to be in the chair when they did all the work, which is sort of like what I do now. So 30 years ago, there was a few people in a boardroom. And now you look around this room. We have lawyers, engineers, bankers, finance people, project managers, architects, planners, public servants, and private sector entrepreneurs. Infrastructure can't happen without all of us working together and that's the essence of what P3s really are. Some of the important themes, one of the panels were talking earlier today about the DNA of P3s. Part of the DNA of the Canadian Council of Public-Private Partnerships is collaboration, knowledge sharing, and education. The founders and champions of this organization understood that it requires both the hard skills of our professions and the soft skills of collaboration and working together to create that success that all of us enjoy. So what I'd like to do is maybe leave two messages with you today. The first one is mentorship. I benefited from so many mentors, both public servants and private sector people in my journey, and I learned a lot from lots of people. And if I started to name them, we'd be here all afternoon. Terrific people contributing to the betterment of our province and our country. So I'd encourage you, if you're not already doing so, to make sure you have a couple of mentees, and those of you who are a little younger than I am, make sure you get some mentors, because we all stand on the shoulders of those who went before us. And of course, congratulations to Laura as the Council's Emerging Leader Champion. There's an example of recognizing the advancement of the next generation and sharing our knowledge for the betterment of society. The second message, I said I had two, the second message I want to leave may seem a bit odd, but bear with me. The first one was mentorship. The second one is understanding and empathy. We all come from different professions and different experiences. It's the diversity of those experiences and professional backgrounds that makes for the robust creativity and the better outcomes that we all want. Lawyers approach a problem differently than engineers. Architects bring a different perspective than accountants. Public servants have different metrics and accountabilities than our private sector friends. One is not better or worse than the other. We just come from a different paradigm, and it's in the collective work that we're all better. Getting the accountabilities and the timelines and the motivations all in alignment is what P3s is all about. Understand where your colleague is coming from. If you understand and have some empathy for their professional responsibilities, their accountabilities, their constraints, and the incentive structure that they work under, you'll be able to understand their paradigm and be able to make a better project. It is the diversity of our professional backgrounds and our experiences that brings me to my final point, and that is the current board of Infrastructure Ontario. I have the privilege of working with a wonderful group of very experienced colleagues at Infrastructure Ontario. We have knowledgeable lawyers and accountants on our board. We have experienced real estate and financial professionals, public sector experience, and private sector experience. We all work together to provide that fiduciary oversight asked for us by the government. And we work with a strong and talented senior management team led by our terrific CEO, Angela Clayton. Having a diversity of perspectives with understanding and empathy for the challenges and constraints is how we as a board help our senior management team solve problems and deliver on a huge mandate. So in conclusion, thank you again to C2P3 for this recognition. Remember that mentorship is important for the future success of all that we do, and demonstrate understanding and empathy in every meeting you're in. Together, the public sector, working with the private sector, will build a better country. Thank you.
Thank you, David, and congratulations. It is a rare occasion for the awards committee to recognize two giants in 1 year, but I know that you'll agree that both of these leaders are incredibly worthy of the recognition. It is a great honor to present Geoff Smith, Executive Chair of EllisDon, with our Lifetime Champion Award. 2 years ago, Geoff stepped down after 25 years as EllisDon's president and CEO. Geoff joined EllisDon in 1983 and quickly gained experience across various management positions, including field operations, legal and labor relations, and executive leadership. In 1996, at the height of a trying time at EllisDon, he was named president and CEO. Geoff reinvented the company as a cradle-to-grave services provider with guaranteed performance outcomes through its capital services, facilities management, and sustainable building divisions. And as many of you know, EllisDon is a key player in Canada's P3 sector, especially when it comes to designing, constructing, financing, operating, and maintaining critical healthcare assets from coast to coast. Geoff's community involvement covers a broad spectrum. He is Chancellor of George Brown College in Toronto. He serves on the board of the C.D. Howe Institute, and he is a founding member and chair of the Ontario Global 100 Board, an initiative to enable Canada's fastest growing companies to become exporters to the world. Congratulations, Geoff, and thank you for your ongoing leadership and support to our sector.
Hi, everyone. Hope you're having fun. I won't be too long, and I won't be as profound as my friend David Lindsay, about whom I have to say a few words, because when you get to this point in your life, frankly, you owe more debts of gratitude than people owe you, and I want to repay a little bit of that. And as David mentioned this, I just want to emphasize it. It's easy to look around this room now and go, of course, but it wasn't always the case. And I haven't heard David Lindsay's name mentioned nearly enough in the conversations around P3s, not just in the province, but in Canada for a long time. So I want to celebrate two people who had terrific courage. When you're sitting around in that room that he talked about, and there's nobody there except a couple of people, and everybody outside the room is opposed to what you're doing. The bureaucrats, let's talk, the unions, a lot of the pension fund holders, and you're in trying to get this done. What he accomplished, and I'll come back to it in a second, is nothing short of phenomenal, legendary. When you're sitting in that room, I wrote down, you're wondering if you're driving off a cliff or if you're going to a good place, and that's when real courage is required. And David, I salute you for that. If you're at EllisDon, and indulge me here, because I had to ask myself, well, why am I standing here? Why am I getting this award? I'm getting this award, frankly, if I may be so candid, because of a guy named Jim King. He was a guy at EllisDon who also goes largely uncelebrated. He was the fellow he was our CFO. He's retired a few years ago. He saw these things coming. I'll tell you, frankly, I was terrified. If we didn't go after them, we were in trouble, and if we did go after them, they looked pretty risky to me. Jim King not only said, no, Geoff, we're not only going after them, we're going into the equity box, and we're going into the FM box, and Jim created the financial model that we've used for the last 25 years. We still use it, and he basically kicked my butt around the office until I agreed to sign off on it. Other people, actually, I'm proud to say this, have followed EllisDon's model. It's always nice to be copied, but they're not following EllisDon's model, they're following Jim King's model. And I have to acknowledge that when they told me I might get this award that I was being considered, first they said, you're up against David Lindsay, and I said, well, just give it to David Lindsay, that makes perfect sense. And then they said, well, I don't know. I said, give it to Jim King. They said, well, we already gave it to Jim King. You just came in later, but he's that kind of a guy. I want to say one thing about LRTs, I wrote something down about the LRTs which I've decided not to say. The other group I want to thank before I get on to my one single point is, frankly, C2P3, as they colloquially, informally refer to themselves. Because from the beginning, C2P3, and I'm not going to name any names, the whole group, but a lot of the board members, again, at the outset said, this is the way public policy has to go, this is the way the industry has to go, and they've been at it for decades now. Resolute, vocal, and tireless champions. P3s, in my view, are a great model for the taxpayer. They're a great model for society that needs infrastructure quick and reliably, and they've been very good for our industry. So thank you, all of you. There are not that many of you, actually, but you deserve a great set of gratitude. I want to say this one thing about, 2 more points. I want to say this one thing about P3s generally. Everybody, people in the private sector, people like me, say, oh, public sector. It's private sector where innovation happens. It's a private sector where the really creative thing happens. P3s have shown that to be patently false. And I can tell you from my seat that the private sector, my other clients, have been profoundly affected or energized, is a better word, by P3s. Why not get the contractor involved in the design and make it work? Why not get the designers and the contractors and everybody involved in life cycle rather than short term? This is the innovation of P3 that's now being used everywhere. And frankly, you don't get enough credit. So P3s have had as big an impact, I would say, on the private sector and the way we deliver construction in the private sector as they have on the public sector. And they deserve complete credit for that. On EllisDon's behalf, my last point, I have to tell you, I'm just profoundly grateful for this award, but it should be the other way around, and I mean that very sincerely, because P3s transformed EllisDon. They changed our thinking, they changed our strategy, they changed our corporate structure, they completely changed our past, our present, and they've changed our future. We put in that introduction we so kindly read about the cradle-to-grave strategy, comes right out of P3s. It's been so good for EllisDon. We've got all sorts of stuff going on. Sometimes you get lucky in life. I was standing in the right place at the right time when P3s came along. We took full advantage. I want to thank everybody in the room for building up a great industry and a great procurement model for everyone. All the best to you.
Whoop. Geoff, I think I've got your iPad. Oh, no. All right. Congratulations once again to all our nominees, our national award winners, and our 3 champions. And thank you again to our award sponsors, AECOM, Marco Builders of Atlantic Canada, and McCarthy Tétrault. On behalf of the Awards Committee, I urge all of you to consider putting forward your projects when we open the 2026 National Awards applications process next year. Think you're part of the country's best projects? Tell us about it. Inspired by a phenomenal P3 leader, help us celebrate their accomplishments by nominating them for a Champion Award. And with that, I will conclude our awards lunch, and I wish you a great afternoon and amazing rest of the conference. Thank you again for coming today.